Hello, this is my updated no makeup routine for mature skin. I'm 49 and this is what I like to do to feel fresher and more awake than I actually am. I find most no makeup routines and looks are geared towards those with more youthful faces, with even bouncy skin tone and brighter, more lifted eyes. And I'm sure you found, like I have, that what worked for me when I was younger just doesn't work the same anymore. So what I'm doing today is showing you how I even out the redness, discoloration, dark spots on my skin, the dullness, and get rid of the tired, drab look that I wake up with in a natural way and keep my skin looking like skin. Now look, if you're into makeup or you know me already, you can probably tell I have something going on. But if you don't know me well or don't know me at all, you may question it. No makeup isn't complicated. You don't have to have makeup artist skills to do it, but it does involve more than just putting on lip gloss, concealer, and mascara and heading out the door. No makeup is not the same thing as 5-minute get out the door makeup. It involves some trial and error, but it shouldn't take long once you get it down and figure out what works for you. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Now, this is what works for me, what I do most of the time. Take some things, take them all, whatever works for you. I'm using various brands and products throughout, and I'll have everything listed and linked below. And I do want to thank Beauty Pie for sponsoring today's video. They have a new product launch and a great offer and code for you that I'll be sharing later in the video. I've already applied my skincare and I've given the last step of my skincare, sunscreen, plenty of time to absorb and fully settle into my skin. About 15 or 20 minutes. We should always be doing that before starting with our makeup so that our makeup applies and wears properly throughout the day. And I always start with a couple of quick prep steps before going in with my makeup to make sure my lips are smooth, hydrated, and plump for when I apply my lip products at the end of my makeup routine. I apply a lip treatment product right when I sit down to do my makeup. Today I used City Lips Lip Plumping Gloss in San Diego. You can tell I love this stuff. This is probably my third tube. I'm about to open my fourth. It doesn't sting, it doesn't burn, but it does a nice job of moisturizing and gripping onto your lips and smoothing out your lip lines. I use it as a prep step, as a gloss. I use it pretty frequently, and there are different shades to choose from. This is just probably my favorite. I've also been reaching for the Clinique Moisture Surge Lip Hydro Plump treatment. This is really good too. And even though I use a hydrating eye cream during my morning skincare routine, I always do an extra prep step when I sit down to do my makeup because I have dry textured under eyes and I can use the extra hydration and caffeine boost and brightening. I've talked about doing this plenty of times. This morning I used Tula 24/7 Power Swipe. It hydrates, it helps smooth, helps with puffiness. It has a lot of good things in here: collagen, peptides, hyaluronic acid, caffeine. It takes about 5 seconds and makes a pretty big difference for me, so it's worth it. It's really important not to leave out your brows when you're doing no makeup. You'd be surprised at what a difference a well-groomed brow can make, and so many people completely leave off this step. And I find doing them at the beginning of my no makeup routine is best for me. You're gonna see me do a few things out of order when I'm doing no makeup. I just find it gives the most natural look that I've found anyway, although they may look a little bit dark right now. That's okay. I also find using a brow pen gives me the most natural result because it's the closest thing to mimicking a natural brow hair. Today I used Maybelline Build-A-Brow pen. Now, using a brow pen involves a little bit more precision. I have a really hard time getting a good angle for you on camera, so I'm not sure what you're actually gonna see here of me doing my brows, but you get the gist. Now, if there are days where I don't have time to deal with the precision of a brow pen, a finely tipped brow pencil can work too. If I use a really light hand, I really like Benefit Precisely My Brow Detailer because of its teeny tiny tip. When I'm doing my brows on a no makeup day, I just try to use the lightest hand possible and fill in my brows how they would normally grow on my face. I don't do anything outside of that. And it's okay if they don't look perfect. Real brows rarely do. The hair is back. You know what that means. We are about to get serious about this skin. We are going to even out the redness, the dark spots, the dark circles, all this uneven skin tone, yet we're still gonna have our skin looking like skin. Like we're born with more perfected skin than we actually are. But first, I want to give you an option for longevity. If you want your no makeup makeup to last longer on your face during the day, this is sort of a before and after makeup magic spray that's also skincare infused. It brightens and preps your skin for the day, but also helps your makeup stay in place longer. This is Beauty Pie's Wonder Filter Blurring Skin Primer and Setting Spray. It's going to help lock those brows in place that we just did, give a soft focus effect, and a gorgeous healthy glow. Plus, the mist is delightful. I've told you guys about Beauty Pie many times here on my channel. They're the first ever global beauty buyers club that gives you a luxury, high quality products without the retail markup, and have a great offer and code for you today down in my description box. The quickest way to even out your skin tone, but maybe have people question, is it your skin? Are you wearing makeup? Is to apply a very skin-like foundation, skin tint, BB cream, tinted moisturizer, something like that. Now, if you have one that really works for you, by all means, reach for that. If you don't, I've done several videos on top BB creams, tinted moisturizers, skin tints. I just did one recently. I'll have it linked up in the corner and down below in my description box along with everything I'm sharing today. I do owe you an updated top skin-like foundations video though. Let me know if that's what you want my next top foundations video to be in the comments. I'm not sure if you guys are as into the top foundations videos as you once were. The interest doesn't seem to be there like it once was. So I was trying to decide if I was going to continue with that series. So today, for instance, what I was looking at was something like L'Oreal Age Perfect Balm. It's very skin-like, but it does provide some coverage, a sheer veil of coverage. Chantecaille Future Skin is probably the most skin-like product I've ever used. Guerlain Terracotta, absolutely stunning. Essence Pretty Natural Foundation, something like that. I'm going to use this today. I'm just going to pump some out on the back of my hand, just one pump. I'm using a damp sponge and dipping it into just a small amount of that product because we just want to use enough to even things out, but we still want it to look like skin. And I'm just bouncing it and pressing it so it fuses with my skin. You can use a brush too if you prefer that. I'll show you a brush on the other side actually. But you really want this to become one with your skin. You may be tempted to layer and to apply more because you still see some redness, you still see some sunspots. Don't do that. The key here is knowing when to say when. We're not trying to look perfected, we're trying to enhance what we already have, and that's a completely different thing. I'm dipping just the tip of my sponge into a tiny amount just to get right at the edge of my nose, the crease of my nose. Sometimes I find it hard to get that on the first go round. Okay, so you can still see some imperfections and you can still see my pores, but they're a little bit smoother compared to this side, but it still looks like skin. Let's go up to the forehead again, just dipping it so lightly. Can you see how little I have on there? Even though my sponge is stained, it's a tiny bit. I'm not really covering my brow with it. I'm just taking it right above my brow. I find I need less coverage on my forehead. Are you like that too? I just cannot emphasize how little product we're using here. I have a 5x magnifying mirror here in front of me, and I cannot tell that I have foundation on right now, and that's exactly what I want. I can still see a few spots. That's okay. We're gonna go ahead and move to the other side and we'll discuss that in a minute. I still have this much on the back of my hand from that initial pump. I haven't added any more. Now for you brush lovers, I'm going to apply this side with a brush. Even though I'm more of a fan of using a damp sponge for this method, I just find it looks more natural and it never catches on dry spots or gives me streaks or anything. But I know that some of you are die-hard brush users, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just taking my brush in, I don't know, maybe about half of that, and I'm really working it in there. I don't want to use that whole amount, but I'm swirling the brush in it, really getting it in there, and I'm pressing it, because pressing it will really get it into your pores and work it into your skin. I am going to press this in with the sponge because I just find that that really meshes it with my skin more. Both sides are now complete and more even toned than when we started, with very undetectable coverage as per my 5x magnified mirror that I swear by. If you're over 40 and you don't have a really good, well lit with adjustable lighting magnified mirror, a good magnified mirror, you know how some of them are kind of warped looking, you definitely need one. If you're of the age of needing readers, you need a magnified mirror. If you're curious about mine, I'll have it linked down below. I swear by it. I have one upstairs and one down. Okay, remember, we're not going for perfection here, but if you still have some sunspots or red spots that you're wanting to cover, now's the time to do that with a skin tone concealer. I'm using NARS Soft Matte in Canal. It's a drier formula, so it works really nicely on my face. I'm scooping out a small amount on my e.l.f. concealer brush and putting it on the back of my hand to warm it up so it will blend out easily and look seamless and extremely skin-like. Now for each spot I'm covering, I'm dabbing on the teeniest, tiniest amount and using a feather light hand to blend just the edges into my skin. This is what's going to give that skin-like look that won't look like concealer. And I'm okay if things don't look fully concealed, just a little bit more blended. Okay, to hide these dark circles, this discoloration under my eyes that makes me look pretty tired, I'm going to apply a very thin layer of corrector under my concealer. It helps me use less of each so it looks really natural, and it helps get rid of the gray cast that concealer can have on its own without getting rid of the discoloration first. I'm using Super Luminous Under Eye Genius from Beauty Pie. I have shared this on my channel before. It's very creamy and hydrating, so it's great if you have dry textured under eyes like I do. Now, if I was doing regular makeup today and not no makeup makeup, I would use this shade Light Medium on its own because it's really great to brighten as well as correct, but I don't want to overly brighten today. I want things to look really natural. So this is a little bit too light for me today, and medium deep is a little bit too deep. I want to be somewhere in the middle, so I'm going to mix these two together today. I think that's going to give me exactly what I need. I'm applying the corrector to my eye with the deeper tear trough and darker circle using the Pro Angled Concealer brush. You can use your finger if you want. It blends out easily and it's fusing with my skin and looks really natural and brightening, but not too brightening. And here we are all finished. Because of the hydration, you can see some texture reflected in my lights. I mean, I have texture, but we are going to take care of that here in a little bit. But this eye looks a lot brighter and less tired than the other eye. Okay, here we are after correcting and brightening both sides, and you may be great after that step and not want to conceal, or you may be like me and want to conceal a little bit more. I have under eye hollows, and I usually want to conceal in a natural way after. So I'm going to take my beloved Tower 28 concealer and swipe it on the back of my hand. I have shade DTLA, by the way. Again, you can use your brush, you can use your fingers, whatever works for you. I'm going to work this into this brush and dab it into the very, very bottom of this tear trough and blend it up into that corner. I have very little product on this brush, and I want to put some in this inner corner too. It's really your preference if you want to use your finger or a brush. I personally usually prefer a finger. I find the warmth of my finger makes the concealer under my eyes look a little bit more hydrated for some reason. Now, I think you can see that using both of those thin layers gives a smoother, brighter appearance under my eyes that you, knowing me, may think, okay, that looks like makeup. But if you did not know me, once this makeup look is complete, it all comes together and it looks very natural. Obviously, your level of concealing is going to depend on your level of darkness and your discoloration. If you have less discoloration, less dark circles, you may not need to use both of those layers. You may not need to use any concealer or corrector. You may brighten right up with just a teeny tiny bit of concealer and be great. But when you have dark circles and sunken under eye hollows, if you don't brighten and correct, you still look really tired. So this no makeup makeup involves a little bit of brightening and concealing for us. Now that we've evened everything out, it's time to add back in some color and give life back to our face. One of my favorite products for doing this is Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt. What is the official name of this? Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. I have it in shade medium. This is so easy to use. It gives a sheer veil of color that blends in and meshes with your skin. A good drugstore option, if you're on a budget, is Physicians Formula Mineral Wear Diamond Bronzer. It's got a very similar texture and gives that sheer color. It looks so natural. What you want to stay away from are color products that have any kind of shimmer or glimmer, because that will immediately take away from the no makeup look and look obvious on your skin. This has sort of a neutral warm undertone. I don't really have a specific technique when I use it. I just swirl it, brush it where I feel I want color, usually around the contours of my forehead, across my nose and cheeks where the sun would normally hit me. And if I feel like my under eyes are a little too brightened for this natural look, I'll take it over that area too. My chin, I just kind of look in my mirror and assess where I feel I need to be bronzed. I forgot a very important step, and that is evening out the discoloration on our eyelids, because that can make you look very tired. I was actually just going to take whatever extra was on my brush earlier, but I'm just taking a very tiny amount all over my eyelids from my lash up to my brow. Do you see how that evens out redness, veins, imperfections? Now, if you're feeling like your hoods are looking a little bit heavy after you did that, we're going to take care of that. If you have natural pink to your cheeks, you're very lucky. I do not. So I'm going to apply just a dab of Sexy Berry Super Cheek Cream Blush from Beauty Pie because I need just a hint of color to look alive. This looks very scary, but it blends out to be the most natural looking color. And actually, I'm not going to put this directly on my cheeks. I'm going to apply it to the back of my hand and swirl my brush around in it. I really don't want much of this at all. I want just enough to give me a hint of a flush that looks natural, like it's self-made. Now that is just a hint. That is all I'm gonna do. I guess I could have dipped my brush directly in the pot. That would have been easier. Now after I set this down, it could mute the color a little bit and I may add more, but for now, that is blush without really looking like blush. I blotted off my lip prep product and went ahead with an optional step that you may not feel the need to do, but if you find your lips have become uneven over time, or if they've gotten less pigmented or have lost fullness and you want to define your lip line without it looking defined once we're finished, this step is an option for you. So just find a lip pencil that's fairly close to your natural lip color. I'm using Makeup by Mario in the shade Hue, and I like to align my lips and fill them in using a very light hand. The reason why I personally like to do this is because the natural pigmentation around the perimeter of my top lip especially is more pigmented than the inside, so I feel like it looks like I'm wearing makeup if I don't fill them in. So this just helps a little bit, and when we're finished it looks a little bit better. I understand there's some aversion to setting powder, but as I turn my head side to side, I want you to look at the lines in my forehead and the texture under my eyes being reflected in my filming lights. So this texture on our faces can be exaggerated from any kind of light. Outdoor lighting, indoor lighting, it doesn't matter if our faces are too luminous or dewy. I know I always say you don't have to be scared of powder anymore. It's not made like it used to be. There are some really nice powders on the market. So this is the point where we set the face with very sheer, undetectable, natural looking translucent powder. I have some options linked for you down below for various skin types. I'm using the new Makeup by Mario today. I'm playing around with this. First things first, though, if you have had any concealer gathering, pooling, creasing underneath your eyes, go ahead and press that out, because the last thing you want to do is lock that in. I'm initially patting it under my eye with a brush, and then I'm pressing it in with that damp sponge that we used earlier for foundation to fuse it to my under eye area. Do you see how smooth that under eye looks compared to the texture and the shine that's still on the other side? And now I'm applying it by pressing it into my skin with the sponge. It seems like a lot at first, but it starts to meld with my skin and become one with it. And now we have one side to the other. Now this is the shade Fair Pink. I initially got it to brighten under my eyes, but I've been testing it out and really liking it all over my face. It did brighten. I'm not mad at it though. I could always add more bronzer or blush. I'm not sure if I'm going to though. I'll decide at the end. I want to touch on these eyes first and give them a little bit of a lift, and then I'll assess the color on my face. One of the best ways to give your lashes a very quick lift is to curl your lashes. I'm using my reference Zephyr Lash Curler. It's my favorite. I use it all the time. I find giving the curler a tiny little lift at the outer corner right before I finish helps a little bit more at that outer corner. Just a quick little tip for you. Now, if you have thick lashes, you can skip this step, but I don't. I want to make my lash line look more defined, but without looking like I lined my lashes or used eyeliner. So I want to take an eyeliner shade that is close to my natural lash shade and just wiggle it in between my lashes. I go in depth in this technique in a video I recently did about eyeliner and mascara fading and smudging during the day. I'll have it linked up in the corner and down in my description box, but I'm taking just a flat liner brush and dipping it into this deep sort of black brown shade in this Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette, and I'm tapping off the excess and I'm pressing this directly into the base of my lashes, not the fleshy part underneath. That's the waterline. I clarify that in another video too, but the reason why I like to curl my lashes first is because it sometimes gives me easier access to the base of my lashes. So I'm just pressing and wiggling that brush along my lash line. You can access it from the top, from the bottom, or go straight in, and it just helps fill in those blank gaps between your lashes so your lash line looks a little thicker. I just don't look awake unless I apply at least one coat of mascara to my curled lashes, so I applied Beauty Pie Wrap Star Tubing Mascara, which holds my curl and defines my lashes and doesn't flake or smudge. After I applied mascara, I felt like my eyelids looked a little light and not natural, since our eyelids are usually a little bit darker. So I swept some powder bronzer on my eyelids pretty haphazardly. I didn't really use any technique. I used Benefit Hoola. You can use whatever bronzer you have on hand, powder or cream, even the one we used earlier. I just feel like this looks more natural than stark light eyelids. Now, over the past month or two, I discovered that Ravi Beauty Lily is very close to my natural lip color, so I added that. It's not too shiny, it's not too matte, it's very comfortable, smoothing, hydrating, so that's my lip today. And you know, the main thing that we did today that makes the biggest difference is evening out our skin tone and bringing color back to it and defining our lashes and brows. There are a couple of other things in here, but that's the main thing that I did here. And I'm very happy with it. I'm very confident with this look, even though it doesn't have my eye lifting eyeliner and all the things that I do on a daily basis. Be sure to check out the Beauty Pie offer on your screen. They're giving you a free 60-day trial membership, so you get access to everything and member pricing, and you save money on your first order. And they did launch their new version of Super Healthy Skin, their 2.0 version that's even better than the first, which was already great, that can really help streamline your skincare routine in the morning. So if you haven't checked that out, check that out while you're on their site. If you're looking for a skincare moisturizer, kind of all-in-one multitasker with some great ingredients, great benefits in it. My link and code are in my description box. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.